At this point, see how it's nice, almost looks like a nice paste? Nice, creamy, almost like a pudding type. Okay, that, you just want to make a little hole in here. Hi guys, my name is George Montes and today I'm going to show you how to make chocolate soufflé. This is one of my favorite dishes to make. I've been making it for over 20 years. It's a showstopper. It's this cake that rises up and almost doubles its size. So I'm going to show you how to make this. Let's get started. Hey guys, so this is the ingredients that we're going to use for this recipe. So we have 1 cup of chocolate chips. You can use bittersweet or you can use semi-sweet. 2 cups of milk, 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 1 stick of butter, which is 4 ounces, and 10 large eggs. And additionally, have some extra butter and some sugar for buttering the ramekin. And these are the tools. We're gonna use the ramekin. This is very important. This is the vessels that we're gonna bake the soufflé in. We're gonna use 2 medium-sized pots. We're gonna need a whisk. We're gonna need a rubber spatula. We're gonna use a mixer, so make sure you have the bowl for the mixer, the whisk attachment, and also the paddle attachment. All right, so we're gonna get started. There's a couple important steps in making soufflé. The first one is buttering your ramekins. So the ramekin is this container, this vessel, that's very thick in the bottom. Now, in order for the soufflé to glide through this vessel, we need to grease it up with the butter. All right, unsalted butter, we're gonna grab a little bit. I like to use my fingers. Some people use a brush. Finger works well because you get to feel. And I just kind of glide my finger right through that and then get the top. All right, now that we have our ramekins buttered up, we're gonna coat them with the sugar. So what I do is grab a little bit of sugar and I just pour it right on there. Shake it up a little bit and then little by little just start rolling it off the ramekin and make sure it touches every part of that butter. All right, so now we're gonna separate the eggs. This is a very important part of the soufflé as well because we're gonna make a meringue. A meringue needs to be whipped up with the egg whites. So it's very important not to crack any of the yolk into the whites. So the best way to do is with your hands. Once you have them in the bowl, we're gonna separate them with your fingers. They're a lot more gentler and this is a good chef way to do it. All right, let's get started with the batter. First, we're gonna have to heat up the milk and the sugar. So you're gonna place 2 cups of milk right in the pot and the 1 cup of sugar right in there. Give it a little mix and then we're gonna bring it up to a mild simmer and remove from the heat. All right, so we're gonna start making the roux. The roux is the thickening agent that's gonna thicken up the base. And to make a roux, you need butter and flour. So we're gonna start by melting the butter. Put your butter in the pan. I always like to remove any of this little excess here. And just go at about a medium heat. And once it fully melts, we're gonna whisk in the flour. So make sure you have your whisk ready to go for that. All right, we got some bubbles. Let's get your flour, dump it right in there. All right, try not to make a mess, but whisk this and get all that butter incorporated with the flour. All right, so now we're mixing it all up well. We don't want to cook the roux too much. This is what you call a blonde roux. You don't want to get a lot of color. Now we're gonna add the hot milk and sugar. Be very careful. I like to add it into thirds, so I'm gonna put about a third of it right now. And give it a whisk. And when you do this way, you little by little, you start removing any lumps. You put it all at once, it gets a little harder to mix in. All right, you see as it starts to boil, it's starting to get thicker. So I'm gonna put the rest of the milk right in there. You see now it's thickening it up. Don't stop mixing. You wanna get all those lumps off. Look at that. At this point, see how it's nice, almost looks like a nice paste? You're gonna turn it off, and this is your base for the batter. Now we're gonna get the bowl for the mixer, and we're gonna transfer that right onto there. All right, so now we have the mixture, the batter into the mixer. We're gonna turn this on and add the chocolate chips in there while it's still hot. This is gonna melt the chocolate chips into the batter. All right. And now, so you're gonna steam a little bit. You get that nice, delicious chocolate aroma. Now we're cooking. You wanna let this go for about a minute or two so it can cool down a bit. This is really hot. We're gonna add the egg yolks one at a time in about a minute. So make sure you scrape the sides of the bowl, and we're gonna let this run again, and we're gonna start adding the egg yolks. So run this, and we're gonna add the egg yolks one at a time. There we go. So add one, let it mix in there, add another one. Next, we're gonna transfer this into a bigger bowl, which is the one that we're gonna mix the souffle batter fully in. So let's remove this, but this is the way it should look. Look at that. All right, so now we're gonna whip up the egg whites. This is a very important part of the process because the egg whites is your aerator. That's what's gonna incorporate all that fluffy air into the souffle batter. And when it cooks, all that air is gonna, elevate and inflate and give you that nice big puff, which is gonna be awesome. All right, so we're gonna put this in the mixer. Here's our egg whites, and they're nice and clean. Make sure your bowl is nice and dry. All right, so put that in there, and you're gonna put that in high till it gets to, not a stiff peak, but a little bit before that. It should be ready in 3, 2, 1. Let's take that out. We're gonna mix in first half of the egg whites, and then the second half we're gonna fold. I'll show you what a fold looks like, but first we're gonna mix this part in. All right, so let's just about half of the egg whites in there, right there, and let's just give this a mix. The souffle batter is a little thick, so this first part that we're gonna mix in is gonna make it nice and soft, so when we fold in the other egg whites, it's easier to fold. All right, so just mix this thoroughly. And again, if you haven't done so already, preheat your oven to 350 and have your ramekins ready to go. Nice, creamy, almost like a pudding type consistency. All right, at this point, we're gonna fold. Folding requires for you to start from the middle here, and then you're gonna scoop up and flip it over, fold it over. And then as you go, you turn the bowl a little bit and you do it again. All right, so now we're gonna scoop everything up into here. So you wanna grab your ramekin and use a ladle or a scooper, like one of these measuring cups, and scoop your batter and then put it right in the middle. You want to make sure that nothing falls out of the cup and is not hanging onto the outside of the ramekin, because if it clings to the side, your souffle is gonna rise sideways. So yeah, nice. So we have our oven hot. We're gonna pop this in 350 degrees, 15 to 18 minutes depending on your oven. All right, let's go pop this in. All right, here's our beautiful soufflés. Look at that. And we're gonna finish them off with some powdered sugar. Let's put that right on our plate. Okay. Look at that, you just wanna make a little hole in here. Here we go, our beautiful souffle. Thank you for cooking with me. Please sign up to my YouTube channel, subscribe, go to sazon.com, join our newsletter for upcoming pop-up events, virtual cooking classes, and recipe of the month. Thank you again for cooking with me, and you've been Sazoned.